Thank you for the opportunity to speak about this subject. I think for the third time this committee has spent time on this issue of recruitment, but really the conversation is about the politicization of the military. When I served in the military, I was a registered independent because I had been raised by my father and my grandfather to not express or articulate my political views in any ways while serving in active duty. And the thing that I'm struggling with right now is the fact that we've been given this piece of survey with unknown provenance and with 50 plus questions to be able to process without any advance notice. I had the opportunity to read a few of these questions, and I would question the interpretation of said questions. An example would be question number 14. In your own words, why wouldn't you encourage a young person to join the military? Only 3.8% of the responses were wokeism. The chairman indicated that there was an indication that that was somehow connected with politics or political climate. That was a separate response, and that response was indeed 16.7%. That doesn't reflect anything about a person's political affiliations, whether maybe they're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. I can tell you that while I served active duty, I felt as though the military, my peers, were too political as well. So I would have responded in that way to this question. Another question was question 15. Please tell me if you agree or disagree with the following statement. Recently, the U.S. military has become too political with regard to things like racial equity and gay and trans issues. I also would have responded to this as a Democrat. Yes, it was too political, because leaders like these are standing in places like these and politicizing our military, rather than really thinking about the service and the requirements, the quality of life of people who are raising their hand to protect and defend. Another question, question 9 says, in your opinion, what is the single most important issue facing the military today? The single most important issue, if you summarize, is leadership and recruitment and retention. That would comprise about 28% of the responses. If I look for those things that this panel on the right side is looking for, 1.7% said Joe Biden, 0.3% said Democrats, 0.3% said liberal issues, 0.3% said requiring vaccination. So if we're really going to hone in on these 50 plus questions of information, we need to be thoughtful in the way that we interpret the data. As somebody who not only served in the military, but is also an engineer and a STEM professional, it really matters what questions we ask. It really matters how we interpret those questions. And I'm kind of sickened by the fact that we're now at the third time having this conversation about recruiting. And rather than actually listening to the genuine experts here who are saying it's complicated, because indeed it is complicated, we are still marching out these kinds of Breitbart, the provenance unknown questionnaires. I am enormously frustrated that this committee has not spent its time really thinking about the quality of life issues that our men and women and those who are thinking about being part of the service are facing. And I have no questions. I'm just going to yield back the remainder of my time.